Hey guys, in this video we're going to be covering activity 6A.1. Our master learning objective is I can identify and name points, lines, and angles. So some vocabulary. What is a point? A point is an exact, let me right here, so it is an exact location. So typically you'll see a little dot, a point, and then it has to be labeled. So it could be a letter, it could be a number, however it labels that point. A line segment is, let me change my color because I'm going to reference some of these. Line segment is going to be a part of a line that connects 2 points. That connects 2 points. All right, so you'll see something. So if it connects 2 points, I'm going to have point A and point B. And a line segment is a line that connects those 2 points. Notice there's no arrows. It is just a line segment, so between 2 points. All right, so now what does it mean to have an endpoint? Trying to scroll this up a little bit. So endpoint is either one of the 2 points that are part of that line segment. So I'm going to go ahead and change my color here. So this is either of the 2 endpoints. Marking at each end of the segment or anything, right? So either of the 2 endpoints, marking the end of a segment. So at that end point, it tells you, well, it's the end of the segment. So therefore, A and B, these 2 are our endpoints, right? It's wherever that segment ends. Oops. All right. Distance. So distance is the length of the line segment that connects the 2 points, right? So how long is it? So this is the length of the line segment that connects the 2 points. That connects 2 points. All right, so that is line segment. When we have angle, so angle, vertex, side, and measure kind of all go together. So if I have an angle, switch up my color again, let's go purple. An angle, so the figure formed when 2 lines meet at a common point. All right, so I'm going to have 2 lines. So a line here, my line segment is going to be connecting 2 points, and then they have to meet at a common point. So that would be my common point right there, wherever those 2 line segments meet. This is what is my angle. All right, so that angle that's created when I have these 2 lines, that is what an angle is. That common point that they meet at is the vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my color up. Let's use green. So this is the corner point. Of an angle. Alright, so this right here, this is my vertex. Alright, and then the sides. So the sides are the sides of my angle. So these are going to be the two lines. So again, this right here is a side. This right here is a side, right? It's the side of the angles. The measure is the amount of degrees turned between the two sides. So, oops. I want blue, please. Amount of degrees, because we measure our angles in degrees. Degrees turned between the two sides. Right, so the measure of an angle would be whatever this mounts out to. So this would be, you know, our whatever degrees of that angle would be. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples here and try to label these using this vocab now that we've kind of refreshed this, using proper notation. So I'm looking at this figure over here on that right side, and the first question says the 3 points of the figure are, well, I have to label the 3 points. So 3 points are going to be, well, point A, point B, and point C. So I'm literally just going to write them as is. The way we write our points are capital letters, right? A, B, and C. Those are my points. The vertex of the angle is wherever that corner point is, wherever our two lines meet. So this right here, it is a point, but it also gets that special name of vertex. So our vertex of this angle is just B. The endpoints of the angle. So remember, the endpoints are where those line segments end. And I am trying to match the colors that we used above. So if you did color code, you can follow along with that. So the endpoints are right here. Here's an endpoint at A. And there's another endpoint right here at C. Alright, and at C. The angle in the figure is, so naming angles, there are many ways that we can name them. Since we have 2 line segments, we can label this using the 3 letters. We can say starting at A, we can go to B. So we can go to B, and then from B we can go to C. That's talking about this angle that we created. So the way that we write angles, angles get this fancy notation, it actually looks like a little angle. And then you just say the letters in order. So you can't just make up the order, it has to be the order of the figure. So we went to A, then to B, then to C. Or we could have also said, well, say in the other direction. We can go from C to B, so C to B, and then from B to A. So that angle could be angle C, then to B, then to A. The other way that we can say this is because this point, this vertex B, only is between 2 lines, we could also just say the name of the vertex. So basically you use that vertex point and you can say, well, this is just angle B. You'll see later why we can say it in this example because of those 2 lines, but eventually we'll start sharing with other line segments, and you have to be careful because you can't actually use just one letter. In that case, you would have to use the 3 letters. The last one here says, well, we need to label the sides. So the sides of my angles are, remember, sides are between line segments. So this line segment right here, we can say AB. And since it's a line segment, you need to write the line notation above those letters. So you go in order AB. You could have also said, well, what if I said from B to A? That's the same line, right? So those two are either or. The other side would be from B to C. And again, you need that segment notation. And yes, you could have also said CB. Typically, we do go in order alphabetically, but if you don't and you switch up the order, that's the same side. All right, let's go ahead and practice some next ones. So looking here at example number 2, it says name the angle 3 different ways. All right, so again, we see these 2 line segments. My vertex is, in between only 2 lines. So I can say that this is just angle D. Right, that's one way to say this. I can also use my 3 letters, and I am gonna go ahead and kind of just write them in a different color. We can see here. So I'm gonna go order from C to D, and then from D to E. So this would be angle CDE. Again, moving down in this direction, then going this way. You could have also went the other direction. So I'm just gonna switch up the color. And I'm gonna say, well, we could went from E to D, and then D to C. E, D, C. Again, you have to go in the order of the lines and how they are connected. All right, now example number 3, name all the angles in the diagram. Now, our vertex here, our vertex is kind of in a special point here because you see that this vertex is the connecting point of a lot of line segments, right? So because we have 3 different angles that the vertex can be at, we cannot say angle V. So I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of zoom in here so I can write, and it looks a little bit clearer here. So what I'm talking about is that, I'm gonna write it here. So all 3 angles have vertex B, right, at this point right here. So if vertex has 3 or more sides, you have to use 3 letters. So if a vertex has 3 or more sides, you must use 3 letters. All right, so what I mean by that is you have to use all 3 letters. So one of the angles is going to be the most obvious, right? It's going to be the big one. And I'm going to say from T, we can go to V, and then from V to R, right? It's that big angle. So I'm going to write angle T, V, R. Yes, you could say R, V, T, that is the same. You can write that one in that order if you'd like. I'm just going to write them for one because either way we have to name 3 angles. The other angle I'm going to use is this smaller inside angle, so basically angle 1. You can still start at T. I still go to V, but now I'm going to go here to S. So that's that inner angle, which is angle 1. So this would be, we went from T to V to S. And the last one here, let's use orange. This is going to be from S to V to R. S, V, R. And yes, each one of these angles you could have said backwards. You could have said RVS, and you could have said SVT, and you could have said RVT. But I just went alphabetically. Well, actually in order, in a circle. So it's okay. It doesn't matter how you label them as long as they're in order. And you do see Since V is the same in all, so all three angles have vertex V, what you notice is that V is in the middle of every single one of those angles. That is why you can't just say angle V, because that could be three different angles, which we just labeled. All right, the last example has us looking at the following figure. It says name all the angles in the diagram. All right, so this is going to be kind of lots of colors here. I'm going to start off with blue, and I'm going to look at the very first angle that I see, which is this top angle. That only has two sides, so I can go ahead and just say angle N. All right, I can kind of do that with all the other corners that I see, because angle Q also is only between two lines, right? So this is going to be angle Q. Other corner here, angle O, again, only between two lines, so I can just go ahead and label that angle O. And the last one here, that last corner would be what? Angle P, right? That's the angle right here, and those are in between two lines. However, I still have a couple more angles. So I do have those inner angles. So let's use pink. So this angle right here. So because I have that middle point, I have to go ahead and use, I can't just say angle N, because that has four different sides. So I do have to go in order. So I'm going to go ahead and say M to N and then to Q. I need that N to be that middle letter, because that's the vertex that I'm talking about. So I went from N to Q. Yes, I could have said Q and M. It's the same point. You could have said it backwards. That is okay as well. I'm going to go ahead and label another point. Let's use a lighter blue. Same thing, I want N, but now I want this point. So I'm going to go in any order. You could say O and P, or you could say P and O, as long as that N point is in the middle, because that's the vertex that I'm talking about. So O, then we went to N, and then we went to P. Still got a couple more points though, because now I have the outside of that N, right? I have the angle that's over here. So in order to say that, I'm going to say M to N, and then N to O. Angle M, N, O. All right, last one here. Same thing, but on the other side. So I'm going to say from P to N to Q. So P, then N, and then Q. And now I have all my angles labeled. And you can go ahead and work on the next activity. Good luck, guys.